It's Wednesday, July 5. In the headlines, amendments to the Child Care and Protection Act delayed. In business news, Frontier Airlines ends operations to Kingston. Regionally, Caricom praised on a 50th anniversary. Internationally, leaders of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meet to discuss Afghanistan food crisis. And in sports, Jamaica to face Guatemala in Gold Cup. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Jamaica's economy grew by 4.2% between January to March this year. Data from the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, indicates that this outturn was spurred by a 5.4% growth in the service industry and 1% in the goods-producing industry. According to a statement, hotels and restaurants led the way with a 29.7% outturn, which was sparked by a 45.5 percentage point increase in arrivals. The other subsectors recording growth were transport, storage and communication, up 7.1%. Wholesale and retail, trade, repairs, installation of machinery and equipment, up 2.8%. Real estate, renting and business activities up 2.3%. Finance, insurance services up 1.9%. Electricity and water up 0.7%, and other services rose by 13%. There was a 0.3% decline in producers of government services. Lawmakers suspended the much-anticipated debate for the amendment of Section 24 of the Child Care and Protection Act in Parliament on Tuesday. Opposition leader Mark Golding proposed that the debate of the bill be suspended for further review.
So I asked that we could, if the minister would permit us to suspend the debate now and give us some time to really look at this, because the approach is, I think, problematic. And I'm not comfortable with attempting to speak to it, having only really focused on it today.
His opinion was echoed by a Member of Parliament, Lisa Hanna. She urged legislators to be more cautious when considering the bill, noting that a number of children would be negatively affected as a result. However, Minister of Education and Youth Favour Williams says the bill, which was laid in Parliament a week ago, did not entail significant or massive amendments that would need a prolonged time to be considered.
This should not be a controversial bill. This is a bill that both sides should support. This bill was laid in Parliament last week, a week ago. These are not significant or massive amendments that it's going to take more time, way more time, to consider. They haven't even said what it is that they'll be considering about the bill.
Minister with responsibility for information, Robert Morgan, and other government members are in support of Minister Williams's position.
And I say to the House, there is a desire for delay. If one child during this delay is sent to a penal institution, it's a wicked and cruel act by the country and this government.
Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson says the High Command is seeing a reduction in major crimes for the first half of the year. He gave an update during a press brief on Tuesday afternoon.
Murders were down by 13% or 94 less. Shootings were down by 12% or 71 less. Rapes were down by 24% or 63 less. And robberies were down by 23% or 111 less. Break-ins were down 12% or 62 less.
He also addressed the results of the recently declared states of public emergency in St. James and Westmoreland following a spike in murders and shootings.
We are still actively pursuing the gangs, guns and gunmen, which are at the source of our violence problem. We are still intercepting known gunmen and have come head-on with some of Jamaica's most wanted persons, some of whom refused the option of peaceful surrender and hence met their demise. The seizure of the 370 illegal guns for the first 6 months of the year, and the arrest and charge of 565 persons under the new firearms legislation, 490 of whom were charged for being in possession of a prohibited weapon, is a reflection of the relentless efforts of our police officers in this regard.
According to General Anderson, the reduction in major crimes can be attributed to increased police operations. In the business report, Frontier Airlines ends operations to Kingston. We have more on the story, plus the market updates. Dinita Rodney has the details.
Frontier Airlines has cut its operations to Kingston, with its last flight by the Denver-based low-cost carrier to Norman Manley International Airport being on Monday. Delano Seavright, senior strategist in the Ministry of Tourism, said the move was not surprising and was due to strong competition from other carriers.
This is not at all surprising. They operated just a handful of flights per week with Atlanta and Miami in and out of Kingston, which are routes dominated by the bigger airlines, Delta and American Airlines respectively. So the impact is absolutely minimal. Frontier continues though to expand aggressively into Montego Bay with non-stop flights to and from Chicago, Philadelphia, Tampa, St. Louis, Dallas and several other U.S. cities.
The tourism strategist noted that other airlines are expanding the number of flights into Kingston.
Kingston is also benefiting from increased services by JetBlue, which is move up to 5 daily non-stop flights between New York, John F. Kennedy and Kingston, and 4 daily non-stop flights between Fort Lauderdale and Kingston this summer. And Kingston, of course, is still emerging as the fastest growing individual destination in the Caribbean this summer, according to a report from Forward Keys, which is a highly respected international travel analytics firm.
Frontier's move comes weeks after Spirit Airlines scrapped its service between Jamaica and the Bradley Airport in Connecticut due to low passenger uptake. Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Tuesday, July 4, the US dollar sold for an average of $155.10. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $117.52. The pound sterling traded for $195.42 and the euro sold for $171.10. In JSE trading, the JSE index declined by 272 points. The junior market index advanced by 15 points. The combined market index declined by 113 points. And the All Jamaican Composite Index declined by 659 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 110 stocks, of which 46 advanced, 54 declined, and 10 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Verbal Preference, Access Financial Services Limited, and the Barita Investments Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, and Berger Paints Jamaica Limited. Trading firm were Caricom Limited, Jamaican Teas Limited, and JMMB Group Limited 7.25%. The overall volume leaders were JMMB Group 7.25%, preference shares with over 50 million units, Epley Caribbean Property Fund Limited SCC with over 8 million units, and Trans Jamaican Highway Limited with over 3 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, Calypso Macro Index Fund was the only active security posting a volume of 25 shares. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Goddard Enterprises Limited was the sole security trading 500 shares. In regional business, as the Caribbean community Caricom forges ahead to reduce its food import bill by 25% by 2025, the new chairman of the regional bloc, Prime Minister of Dominica Roosevelt Skerritt, says the issues of free movement, non-tariff barriers to trade, reliable and affordable transportation are all crucial in helping the region achieve its goal.
My distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to make intra-regional travel a joy rather than a hassle. 16 years ago, we showed considerable commitment and political will to allow our people to move freely through 10 member states. It worked then, it can work now. And we have Sister Mia who pioneered those efforts 16 years ago. Similar political will must be brought to bear on the issues of expansion of the categories for free movement of skilled nationals to benefit the growth and expansion of the regional economy and the spirit of our community. The reality is that in any free trade arrangement within an integration movement, there will be those who benefit more than others. We recognize this in our revised treaty. It is therefore incumbent upon us all to strive to increase the ability of the less endowed to participate more fully in the trading arrangements. We must all seek to make our arrangements more equitable and use the provisions of the treaty in a more positive manner. It is true that there are dispute mechanism procedures, but we are all in this together for the benefit of the entire Caricom. This is the true spirit of the community. We are our brothers and sisters' keeper, not only in times of disaster, but in all things.
In international business, Facebook and Instagram's parent company Meta is launching a new app that could rival Twitter. The Threads app will launch on Thursday. It will allow Instagram users to write posts while keeping their accounts and followers.
On Saturday, the head of Twitter, Elon Musk, restricted the number of tweets users could see. Musk bought Twitter last year for $44 billion and has introduced a number of changes. Well, Musk responded to the news of a new rival to his company by tweeting, "Thank goodness they're so sanely run." He took a jab at Meta top executive Chris Cox. Last month, Cox said users have been asking for a platform that is sanely run and is reliable. Well, Drew Benvey is from Bettenhall, a social media communications agency. He explained why changes at Twitter are creating opportunities for other social media companies.
This is perfect timing for Meta because other social networks had actually been benefiting from Twitter's turmoil in recent days and in recent weeks and months. Every time there's an outage, every time there's a policy change or safety moderators are let go of Twitter, people start voting with their fingers and starting to use other social networks that emulate Twitter. And as yet, there hasn't been a high profile one, which is why Meta is launching Threads now. We use many social networks and we usually look for a few things: safety, free use in return for some advertising, for the advertising to be appropriate. And none of that seems to be happening at Twitter of late. Elon Musk seemed to, in the beginning, want to cut costs, and he did this by letting staff go. What happened then was the experience degraded, then advertisers left. And now, most recently, he seems to be trying to make money through selling user subscriptions, which is this Twitter Blue. And the response to Twitter going down over the weekend was to limit the use of Twitter to non-paying users, therefore trying to, I don't know if it's making money more important than stabilizing the service, but neither seem to be working. So I think his strategy is a bit too conflicted to be useful.
In market data for oil, Brent crude oil prices were little changed on Wednesday as concern over the global economy countered supply cuts announced this week by top crude exporters Saudi Arabia and Russia. Brent was down 12 cents at $76.13 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude traded at $71.26, up $1.47. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
In regional news, braving heavy rainfall on Tuesday morning, President Dr. Irfan Ali joined other heads of Caricom in a tree planting exercise as part of Caricom's 50th anniversary celebrations. The Caribbean leaders also signed and placed a letter in a time capsule for future leaders to open and read in the next 50 years. Here's a look at the event.
So as we take stock of the last 50 years and look with anticipation towards the next 50, let us do so knowing that whatever divides us will never be bigger than that which unites us. We will always be stronger together than we are apart. Let us go towards the future, confident in our strengths, cognizant of our weaknesses, and determined to strive through both towards success.
This is a symbolic placement of the seal of the chamber holding the time capsule, which will then be over 50 years from now as we celebrate the centenary of Caricom.
I want to say to us in the Caribbean, I believe we're living in a more difficult world now than 50 years ago, or even 20 years ago. And this requires us to be even more united in purpose. United in purpose. There are too many injustices that have been meted out to us as a Caricom and a Caribbean community. The issue of climate change and the kicking down the bucket of firm decisions to address our concerns in the Caribbean community. And sometimes we feel like giving up. We feel like not going to any of the COP conferences. But we must never relent on our fight against an injustice. Like our forebears who fought for our emancipation. They never gave up. And therefore we have to look even deeper within ourselves to continue that noble fight of ensuring that the developed world do what is just and right where we are concerned with regards to climate change.
Tributes, promises and commitments were made on Tuesday as the 45th Heads of Government of Caricom meeting convened in Port of Spain. Sunil Lala has more.
It's a great day for the Caribbean. It's a precious moment in history, and we come together to celebrate Caricom's Golden Jubilee.
At the start of the 45th Heads of Government Caricom meeting on Tuesday, several organizations, including the Commonwealth, congratulated Caricom on its 50th anniversary, urging the body to continue along its path. Also among them was the Secretary General of the Organization of American States, Luis Almagro.
So far you stay united, that is a blessing for this hemisphere, for all these regions. Empower your people, empower your youth, empower your women.
Countries also expressed their praise for Caricom, with the United Kingdom recognizing a powerful stance taken by the Caribbean community.
I'm sure we will hear many examples of your successes. For me, it was very powerful to hear you speak in unison to condemn Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine.
And Mexico hailed Caricom for its talks with the United States to stem the flow of firearms into the region.
We appreciate the interest of several member countries on the litigation against private companies of the firearm industry in the United States of America. Mexico has taken note of the concern expressed by the Caricom membership to Vice President Kamala Harris.